game. I know they're probably a bit behind. But we'll just cast it from. Just open it whenever you're ready and stream. Can you hear me and Tristan?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, nice. You have it up. That's good. Right, are you ready to launch the game? Or
I am having issues finding it.
okay, if you try searching for Alcoldner or Desert Cup or whatever in the Inspectate, obviously.
Nothing's popping up. Go ahead and start. I will join in.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know Tristan's voice is probably very quiet, but I'm not. I don't think I have any possibility to adjust it any louder, unfortunately. No, that's max.
I'm just restarting the game, see if that
Okay.
shows up. Now that might be a little bit better. Am I too loud?
I think that's better. It's okay for me, and they probably hear you at least a little bit better. Just gonna adjust the score tab here. Right. So we have Desert Cup. Second game of Alcoldner versus Knutan96. This is Group A. And since Knutan96 won the first map, we have Alcoldner's home map, which is Desert Cup Shrublands. See a bit of hills. Are you in game?
Now, Shrublands is one of the. I'm not in game yet, but I do want to talk about the map.
Go ahead.
Being one of the things that I know a little bit about. The map itself is almost like Serengeti. It's got a lot of hunt. Whereas in a lot of the other maps where we see that they are a lot like Arabia, this one can be really, really open. So it can play a lot more like Serengeti without the wall possibilities in it.
The woodlands seem a little bit more connected than on Serengeti as well. Not as full of... Yeah, those are inconsistent. They look a bit more assembled.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Notice we have some hills. I believe Knutan is a bit more unfortunate than Alcoldner here, because the hills are really close to his TC. Actually, this is within... I think it's almost within Mangonel range. Blues TC. So... Right, so we have the Ethiopians versus Celts. Both are likely to go... speaking strictly of the sim choices, both are likely to go men-at-arms, potentially into archers. So we'll see how that plays out.
Definitely. Also, to worry about later on in the late game, Ethiopians may get a massive bonus to their siege in terms of blast like range, but the Celts have a stronger siege than
Yeah, absolutely.
Ethiopians.
Overall stronger siege. But no, Celt, no, I mean Ethiopian onagers with a unique tech, especially it's a unique tech threat, can absolutely compete with the
Yes, yes.
Celts. So
It'll
yeah,
definitely be an interesting matchup if it goes to the late game where we start seeing a lot of siege trades.
right. It's I'm looking a bit at the resources here as well. I mean, I think Alcoldner is a bit more fortunate with resources closer to his base. Knutan has his main gold forward, whereas Alcoldner has his sort of on the backside, so that might play to his advantage. Knutan getting housed here, actually. The Ghost is confused by the Ethiopian's choice. Okay, why? Because it's an open map like this, or I know it's one of Alcoldner's favorite civs, so that's probably the main reason. But
Personally, I think Ethiopians is a really good choice for this map. They could really abuse the hills with their speed with the archers later on. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad choice for this map. Now, would maybe like Mongols be a better play? Uh, I think there could be an argument for that. But obviously, different strokes for different folks. People have their
yeah,
preferences,
I do appreciate though that you don't pick Mongols, which is the obvious choice because of the hunt, because it feels nearly unfair when there's extra hunt. but,
Yes, I definitely agree.
so and speaking strictly of the archers option, Celts are already at a disadvantage, of course, because Ethiopian archers fire faster. So um,
Well, and just the same as we saw in game one, Alcoldner's not opposed to doing some fancy micro, or at least attempting it. So Ethiopians can definitely make use of players who do micro like that, much more than a generic Civ could, just because of the extra speed on those archer firing rate.
that's true. He can make good use of that. And the good, I see him delaying the Celt barracks a little bit here, which was a good move by his scout. Knutan is also scouting Alcoldner's side and seeing his begun his walls. I like Alcoldner's walling here actually because he's well, there's a hole in the back which is not good, but the general idea is forcing enemy units to go towards the TC if they should get there soon before he can finish it completely. So in these woodlands though, it's tough to notice the potential holes with these African trees.
Absolutely. I also think that it's important to note that he had to kind of make a sacrifice with the gold on the upper west side of his base, where he had to wall that out in order to make sure he gets safe. So he's got to make sure
Yep.
his main gold stays completely safe throughout the entirety of the game. That gold goes, the rest of the game goes. You
Yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah. He needs to. That's a good choice to make for now. We can always access it with a DC later anyway, so it's not lost. I also noticed he walled in his. Well, he actually made the stable. By the way, he didn't go for an archer opening. Apparently, it's going for. Well, it has to be scouts, right? So that's a very unorthodox Ethiopian play, I would say, but not impossible. But I would say, was hoping to surprise his opponent, but his opponent has already scouted his stables. So either this is a sort of a mind trick, or is actually going to go for the scouts. And it's a really open map, so I can see why he thinks that's good play. What time are we at, by the way, in the game?
I actually am just loading in. I'm now fast forwarding to catch up to you on your stream.
Yeah, I'm at, you know, then you know, I'm 14-ish, so yeah.
Okay. And my computer does not play nice with the load times.
Yeah, no kidding. Alright, good awareness from Alcoldner here. He's spotted Knutan's archers on the other side, so he's putting up a defensive tower of this wood and gold already. This defensive tower here, it will protect both his wood line and the secondary gold. He's also sending 4 scouts forward, cleaning up at least a few of Knutan's archers, which will inevitably delay his opponent's offensive.
Absolutely, and if he's going in with a patrol, those scouts will start attacking as soon as they see those archers, and if you're not noticing right away, you can't pull those archers away, you're going to lose a lot of those numbers, you know?
I think he lost 3 or 4 archers there, but then he mixed in a spear and Alcoldner had to back off, which he was very well aware of. So he's quite heavy on gold. He has 5 on gold, so Alcoldner. So the archer switch has to come at some point. But what would also be a decent, as long as his opponent only has archers, he could upgrade the armor on the scouts and take a better fight against archers and even spearmen. Now I'm at minute 18, and
I'm catching up. I'm at minute 15:20 now.
Yeah, cool. We should be somewhat synchronized. So. So here's Blue being a little bit annoying with his archers, but he obviously can't get in because it's all walled. But it's still.
So what is your game time now?
It's. I'll tell you when it's at 19 minutes. It's there. It's at 19 minutes.
Okay, I'm just behind you by about 10 seconds. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, that should be fine. I don't want to fast forward too much because we're already kind of behind. So.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then you see Blue's archers here passing next to the wood line, where Alcoldner already has a defensive tower, so it seems to be able to go quite safe, although Blue is already on the way to the Castle H, so
looks like he wants to head over to the right side here.
Maybe he finds a hole. Oh, the scout would have found that, I guess, but he could also be looking for a spot to break in before his villagers can react to quick wall in time. And when these guys, when he reaches Castle H, these will be crossbows as well, and they will of course break through palisades like it was paper almost. So.
It looks like he's found a hole.
This. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is not good, and Alcoldner doesn't see it yet. Wow. Yeah, that's the risk of walling this kind of terrain with the wood lines.
Absolutely, and just the the unfortunate side effects of not double checking with palisades, you know?
Yeah. It's yeah, of course it would. I mean, you could have walled on the hill right past the woodland and be 100% sure, but then you wall out your whole woodland, and that doesn't make sense, of course. So
Exactly.
No, I guess it is reaching castle age in a second now, so we should just get that siege workshop up and
now, what's your game time? I just want to make sure we're close. I'd rather be behind you than ahead of you.
23.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. So Alcoldner is dropping a TC with most of his population, which I think makes sense from a defensive perspective. Even though it idles a lot of workers. It's actually dropping a third TC as well on the back gold.
Even with that third TC, he still has another option of placing down maybe a defensive siege workshop.
Yeah.
You know, one good shot can clear out all of his aggression from blue and completely turn the tide of the game.
And also now Alcoldner probably doesn't see that, but Knutan is placing a forward siege workshop. So, but there it is. He placed the siege workshop as well. Yeah.
There it goes.
Yeah. So and he's Mangonel already queued up. We should probably just queue another one right this way as well, because, yeah.
Now, we have to understand that the Celts get their bonus immediately, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
And the Ethiopians have to research that for the castle, which obviously there isn't one in this game yet. So the Ethiopian player at a real disadvantage here in this matchup right now.
They are indeed. Let's have a look at the Celts just quickly here. Siege weapons fire 20% faster, you're right, absolutely right. But now, Mangonel, 1 for 1 there. So that is, Alcoldner already has 2 more in queue, so. But it puts him really on the defensive side now, but I would...
Well, even with the blue player knowing that those mangonels have the option of coming out, it's going to zone out those crossbows. It's going to make the blue player, you know, kind of question himself when he's going into Teal's base.
Yeah. Also, if you have a look at the eco and resource count, this Alcoldner is, although being behind the villagers, is not looking too bad eco-wise. It's, of course, the Ethiopian aging up bonus, but still.
Definitely not. He's got the second armor for cavalry coming out. I wonder if he's going to go for maybe a knight's push later on. Ethiopians don't have the greatest knights, but versus Celts, they might be able to break the mold and do well, whereas versus other civs, they might not be very effective.
Yeah, and then there's the surprise factor, and yeah, he only has 1 spearman out in his home base. Then, of course, he can make more, but then he needs the pike upgrade for it to make a difference. Another stable being dropped, actually, in the north side of Alcoldner space. So he's...
wow, yeah.
But it's probably... I'm guessing it's mostly against the Mangonels and even the Knights, because with the armor. But nice Mangonel macro here from Alcoldner.
Mangonel micro. That's incredible, and he's at a disadvantage just being on the bottom of the hill, and he pulls it out on top.
He dodged three shots. That's pretty amazing.
Now, he's got 4 idols up here on the north side of his base, Alcoldner does. Now, as much damage he may have done with killing that Mangonel, it's not outweighing the idols that he still has sitting inside of his TCs, outside of his market, on top of this new stable.
You're right. He's falling behind the villager count now, and it's 59 to 44. And even the military count, Knutan has 30 military, Alcoldner has 2. So
yeah, and it looks like that's just a Mangonel and a knight here, and that's not necessarily going to be able to do much. The knight, if he can keep it alive, can definitely get a Mangonel, but with all those archers just on the cusp of Alcoldner's base, it's going to be a hard road to walk.
Yeah. So the only thing keeping Knutan out now is really he's only sending in one mangonel at a time, as far as I can see. And his archers or crossbows, they can't really do too much because there are TCs near the vital resources. So
Absolutely. Once you hit Castle Age and those extra TCs come out and start protecting those extra resources, it's really hard to put pressure on without some kind of siege
yeah,
that can outrange the TC. And with those mangonels in the way, it's just not going to happen.
I mean, what if you need the patience, right? I mean, if he could mass 3 or 4 mangonels before going forward with them, he can't know that he's at such a in this position that he could do that. But sending him one at a time, that's basically just gonna make you lose them.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's providing a lot more opportunity as well to kind of figure out what he needs to do to counter the situation.
So Alcoldner picks off one mangonel again here now. He's gonna lose these knights to the crossbow, but at least he got the mango again. These are expensive after all, so.
Now it looks like that knight might get away. It's just not getting lack of ballistics from our blue player. Well, the knight stopped. Oh, and the crossbows don't see it. That's a good play.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's really important to keep that knight alive just due to the simple fact that it's his only military, and where he can't see that stat, Alcoldner definitely knows.
That's true. Uh-oh. There's a knight running in here. And one mangonel sniping a spearman.
Definitely looking a little frazzled here. I'm wondering where Alcoldner's attention is lying, just due to the fact that there's so many idols going on here. And
he's must be army focused maybe, but now he's dropping 3 archery rangers.
Well, and that's the thing. I would assume he's army focused, but there's only one military unit for Alcoldner, and it's currently idle.
And he has 4 TCs. He has the means to produce from more full run because he has the food count, but there is no production right now. There's no wilder production actually. So
he's almost 30 vills behind now, which is a big difference at this point in the game. You know, late Imperial Age, it's not much of a difference, but when you're before Imperial Age, working your way up, Blue should be nearing his way towards Imperial Age, and Alcoldner won't get there for 5-10 minutes.
That's right. See the mangonel? No. Some decent microphone. Oh, never mind. He got in a good mangonel shot there before the crossbows got his mangonel.
And now we see him taking your advice here and using extra mangonels just to make sure that that pressure can't be taken away by an extra, and the GG gets called.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm sure he's looking at the score and can tell that he's behind. I guess he doesn't have too much intel on Knutan's base at the moment, but it's a good sign that your opponent has either more military and more eco, or maybe even both. So, yeah, I think he felt a bit outpaced in this game, maybe, by his opponent.
Definitely. Well, and as Ethiopians, you're walking up. I mean, it's an uphill battle versus Celts. They just have a better opening until where you can kind of capitalize on the archer bonus, having faster fire rate. The Celts kind of just get a better beginning bonus, where their original rush army can be a lot more effective than the Ethiopians one.
Yeah, that's true. So, but good game. I mean, you have to mention as well that Blue here, he is in ELO terms in Group A, he's the highest ranked one. He's just above 1300, as I say this. So he's and he's competing against mostly 1100s, maybe even thousands. So we have to consider him a favorite in our group.
Absolutely. And this is the second loss in a row that unfortunately knocks Alcoldner out of the tournament, correct?
No, it's not. It's a group stage with all players play also.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
it's
so
essentially top four in our group play for a semi-final and a final because we have sort of a separate group A, this one.
oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So there's no knockout phase until everybody's played each other in within the group.
Well, I'm excited to see where Alcoldner goes in his next couple of games on that case because he definitely had a great start to most of his games. He just needs to work on holding on that pressure and making sure that he is keeping an eye on where his next move is. Whereas Newton, or Knutan, it might be.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of had his next plan already lined up before the domino previously had fallen, where we saw his crossbows come out, and then the forward workshop come out, and then the knights come out. It's just a really good forward awareness from
Yeah,
Knutan.
I think his overall plan was simply better. Uh, I was surprised in the first game though to not barely see any cavalry at all from Lithuanians, but the surprise factor certainly worked out for him in that case. So, oh, and he writes in the Knutan writes in the chat that I had few games when the groups were decided. Yeah, that's true. I guess. So, but that concludes that series with a 2-0 for Knutan.
Yeah, it was a
GG.
great game from both parties. Well played. Uh, I think they did really well. I'm excited to see the next games from these two.
Yes, I think I'm gonna end the stream at that, but thanks for co-casting. So, and we'll hear you again some other time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.